Hey, what's up guys, my name is Anshul and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today in this video, let us talk about iPhone 15 Pro Max, my usage of this device after 45 days, and I have to say a lot about it. And of course, I have to say one thing, this phone has grown on me a lot, especially after comparing it with the Google Pixel 8 Pro, which I used as my secondary smartphone along with this iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the results are just amazing. But before I get into the good stuff, let me talk about the stuff that I do not like about this phone, because the list is really short on the things that I do not like. The first thing, iPhone 15 Pro Max is the most refined iPhone ever, but that also means it has some trade-offs that I want to discuss in this video. The new materials used on this iPhone 15 Pro Max are more prone to scratches and breaking. The back glass is also much more less resistant to drops, and the new titanium aluminum alloy is more durable but softer than the previous iPhones. This means that Apple had to spend more money on research, development, production and testing of these iPhones. The result is a more expensive phone which Apple sells at the same price as last year's 256GB of model, but that's not really a fair comparison because now there is no 128GB option for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the price for storage upgrade should not be that significant. So you end up paying 1749 Canadian dollars for the base model, which is a lot of money. And if you want to protect your smartphone from damages, because you already know that this year of iPhone is not as resistant to drops, you end up paying more money on a good case like the mouse case that I have on my phone, which costs about 100 Canadian dollars if you get lucky and if you get that case in some kind of sale. Now, that is the point that I wanted to make, because it makes a smartphone much more pricey, but to get the point you have to pay to protect the smartphone. Now, the other thing that bothers me is about the slow charging on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And come on Apple, now you have the USB Type-C on the latest iPhones, and I would want to see at least 45 watt of charging on the iPhones, and that is not the case that you delivered on this year's of iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that is a sad story and something that I really wish that Apple could improve on this year. Now, one another thing that I noticed on these new iPhones are the continuous drop in the Wi-Fi connections, and that is something that I never experienced on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, this could be due to the titanium frame, or this could also be due to a software bug, and this is something that I would want Apple to improve in some of the software update. And if you're having the same issue, you can comment it down in the comment section below and let me know, so that I know if this is an issue with the titanium frame or if this is an issue with just the software on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, another bug that I found on this iPhone 15 Pro Max are the connectivity issues with my Roku Smart TV. The phone just fails to realize that the phone and the TV are on the same Wi-Fi connections, and no matter how many times I turn off the Wi-Fi and turn it on, it just does not connect and does not recognize that there is a TV on the same Wi-Fi. The solution is that you need to restart the iPhone, and you need to restart or sometimes disconnect and connect the TV again with the Roku application, and then it starts to connect in the normal way as you would expect, and this is not an ideal experience. Sometimes I have to restart my smartphone every 3 hours just to connect my smart TV with my iPhone, and this is just so much more frustrating every time I have to restart my iPhone. So that was something very minor, but something that I really wanted to mention in this video. Now, that's pretty much for all the negatives that I wanted to talk about. So let us talk about what I love about this series of iPhone and how well it has been received, at least by me. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I just love the refined design on this iPhone 15 Pro Max, and especially this new natural titanium color that I just love on this new smartphone. I think this is the most beautiful smartphone I have ever seen. Some people might say it is the same phone as the last year or the year before, but they might be wrong. This is a completely redesigned phone with a new chassis, no sharp edges, and a more rounded and a more comfortable design. And the moment you pick up this smartphone, you would realize that this is a lighter phone than the last year's iPhone 14 Pro Max, and there is a significant difference in the terms of weight when you put the smartphone in a cover and without a cover, and that is something that really matters to me a lot. The only thing that looks similar is the camera module, which Apple does not need to change unless they want to add one more lens or something else. Now another thing that I liked about the smartphone is the more edge-to-edge display. That is a very minor detail, but something that I really appreciate on this iPhone 15 Pro Max, especially when I do not use this smartphone with a cover. It has an ultra bright 2000 nits of peak brightness that works great outdoors. It just looks a stunning and a massive display to watch videos on Netflix or play games on the smartphone. I just love every bit of the display that Apple has used on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now the next thing that I liked on this iPhone 15 Pro Max is the inclusion of the USB Type-C port, and you know that this was coming on this smartphone review as well. Now I don't care much about the data transfer speeds, but I do notice that importing videos that are shot on the cinematic video mode takes less time to import on the iMovie now. That is just such a relief. Before, when using the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it was just a big pain to import those videos. Even when I do AirDrop now on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the processing is much more faster and it is much more capable in the terms of importing the videos on my MacBook versus the iPhone 14 Pro Max from that last year. So yes, the USB Type-C makes the things a bit more better and a bit more faster, at least for me. For the first time in years, I switched my SIM card from an Android phone to an iPhone for more than a month, and that's because now I can use the same cable to charge my earbuds and even my phone, and I can use the same cable to charge my Android smartphone as well, and even my iPad. So that is a cherry on the cake and something that I really love on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now the next big thing that I want to discuss is the new camera system on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the more you use these cameras, you would realize that how capable and how good of the camera system the iPhone 15 Pro Max is in comparison to the last year's iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now I know the marketing might be a bit more exaggerated, but I love the fact that the Pro models this year can shoot in 24 megapixels by default and can be switched to 12 megapixels if you really want to do in the camera settings. Also, I am not too sure that what changed in the main camera sensor, but I noticed some amazing results in comparison to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The other day I was in my balcony in the apartment and there was a red car parked in the front of my apartment. I took a photograph of it with both my iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Google Pixel 8 Pro, and I was just amazed by how accurate the colors were on the iPhone. Normally I would pick the Google Pixel 8 Pro in this situation because I know that the reds are really true on the Google Pixel smartphones in comparison to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But this time, for the first time that I can say is that iPhone 15 Pro Max reproduced better and more accurate colors in comparison to the Google Pixel 8 Pro. The Pixel 8 Pro just messed up the red color in my opinion. What I like even more about this smartphone is the ability to shoot in ProRes log directly on an external drive. I think Apple did a great job of understanding that professionals would use this feature more and they would need to connect to an external drive to save space on the iPhone. The results are just absolutely amazing, rich, and something that is really true to life when you shoot videos on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now Apple claims that there are 7 lenses on this camera system, but what they really mean is that the camera tries to intelligently mimic real cameras to a different focal length when you choose between 0.5x to 5x to 25x, which is the maximum zoom range on these cameras. This leads me to my next point, which is the 5x optical zoom capability on this iPhone 15 Pro Max that is able to mimic 120 mm of lens. That is a very long range of zoom on the iPhones. Now, in comparison to my 5-year-old DSLR that I have, which has a 28 mm lens by default, this means that even if the iPhone uses AI to mimic, it is still having a better and a longer zoom range without compromising the quality. Also, thanks to the intelligent image stabilization with sensor shift technology and other smart features, now you can have fun with a digital zoom up to 25x, which is impressive. The results are close to the Pixel 8 Pro but not better in my opinion. It is still more versatile camera though in my opinion, and I would choose the iPhone 15 Pro Max any day over the Google Pixel 8 Pro, at least with what we have this year around. Now, another thing that I really want to mention in this review is the ability to change the focus of the subjects after taking the videos on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. That is just so amazing, and that is really a big game changer. Sometimes I take some cinematic videos and I realize that the main subject, that is me, is blurred in those videos. Now with these new iPhones, I can change the focus on the subject after taking the video if something goes wrong. Apple will take a few seconds to reprocess the videos and give some better video shots. Another thing that I noticed is that even with the 24 megapixel shots, the size of the photographs was just not too much. I will rate this camera system really high, especially with the ease of this updated camera application to toggle between different modes like HD, 2.8K and 4K modes from the top right corner before starting to shoot the video. Also, there is ability to enable the ProRes lock on and off, and you do not need to always dig into the camera settings, which is sometimes really difficult to find, because now you need to go to the settings application on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and then into the camera settings and then find the option to toggle it on and off. It is just way more easy to do it directly in the camera application, and that is something that I just love about this iPhone 15 Pro Max, because it is just so simple to use this camera in this updated version. Now, one another cool thing that I wanted to mention about in this video is this action button that I just love. Now this button just replaces the old mute switch, and I experimented with different settings, combinations and shortcuts, and I found the best one for me is the do not disturb option, and that is something that just changes the way that I use my smartphone. It is much more convenient than just muting the phone. I do not have to go to the iPhone screen, swipe down from the top right and look for the focus mode when I get some unwanted calls at night. I just press the action button and boom, the toggle is now on, and in the night now no one can disturb me, and in the morning when I need to turn it on, I can again just toggle off by pressing the action button, and now I'm into the normal mode instead of just digging down into every single setting to turn on and off the do not disturb mode. This is something that was useful to me, and I'm sure you have some different actions that you can set on this action button, and that might be useful to you as well. Now another set of features that I enjoyed on this iPhone 15 Pro Max in my past 45 days is the dynamic island and the live activity features that shows you when you do airdrop, you do Uber or flight applications, that shows me the time left to board the flight, and it is super useful, helpful and convenient. I also like the other new set of features that come with the iOS 17, and I know that those features are not specific to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but they make the overall experience just way more better. I'm talking about the features like the personalized call option that I just really love on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and some other set of features like the live voicemail, which lets me send a call to voicemail and see a live transcript of the message, or the iMessage feature, which lets me read aloud the messages in the moment and listen later. Share my location and create the stickers are another things that I love on the new iOS 17 features on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. These features are not exclusive again to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but again, as I said before, the experience is just way more better when you have all those features on the latest iPhones. Now, I want to talk about a few things that are controversial on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that are just not the case with me. Does my phone heat up a lot? The answer is yes, but does it heat up to the point where I cannot hold this iPhone 15 Pro Max in my hand? And the answer is no. Now, Apple did address the heating issue with an update, and ever since I have never noticed this iPhone 15 Pro Max to get hotter than my Google Pixel 8 Pro or the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I think it is just normal and not something that is a deal breaker or something to be put into some kind of gate. Another question is that is it a massive difference in the terms of performance, as now we can use or run PS4 level of games like Resident Evil, and the answer again is no. I think Apple could use the last years of chip as well and advertise the Resident Evil or the PS4 level of game on the older iPhones as well. I bet the performance would have been almost similar. But one thing that is better is the impressive Geekbench scores that is almost double than my Google Pixel 8 Pro and are very close to something that I would say the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, at least in the terms of single core, or if it is not in comparison of the multi cores. I would say I'm happy that Apple is taking gaming seriously on these new iPhones, and I expect more PS4 titles to come down to the iPhone 15 Pro Max later down the road. Now, another controversial case that I want to discuss about in this video is the screen burn-in issue on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, I have a set of 6 to 7 people with whom I consulted, and none of my friends had this issue. I'm sure that if this issue is real, this is something that needs to be fixed by Apple, but not something that I experienced on my own iPhone. I looked into a few Reddit threads and I do not know if those are real or if the screen burn-in issues are real or no. If you are getting the similar screen burn-in issues, you can let me know in the comment section below so that I know if this is a real issue or something that is just a rumor and do not exist. The only so-called gate that I can confirm on this iPhone 15 Pro Max is the back glass gate which shatters when dropped. Apart from it, all the controversies are just not my cup of tea until I experience them on my own, and that is something that I would not comment on this video. So well, now the question is that how good of a smartphone the iPhone 15 Pro Max is after my 45 days of usage, and all I have to say is that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the most capable smartphone that at least I have tested in the Q4 of the year 2023. If you're looking to purchase a new smartphone right now in the market, just skip the Google Pixel 8 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and just purchase this iPhone 15 Pro Max. It is just so much better in the terms of the video quality, the photography, and also the raw processing power on this iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that is something that really matters to me. And again, this is just a good design, something that is better than the Google Pixel 8 Pro in my opinion, and also the natural titanium color is just so dope this year on this iPhone 15 Pro Max. So yes, that was all that I wanted to discuss about in this video. I hope it will help you in your buying decision to buy a new smartphone in this year. That was me, Anshul. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.